Hello and welcome. Tonight, organizers of planned End Bad Governance nationwide demonstration slated for August 1 reject the Inspector General of Police Ikeja Hotel's proposal of confined protest. The police and other security agencies to be fitted with body cams as a planned nationwide protest looms. Inspector General of Police Mr. Ikeja Hotel reiterates the police's commitment to protect all peaceful protesters. A coalition of youths and civil society groups align with the protest called by End Bad Governance protest. The group insists that the protest will go on regardless of any threat or intimidation.
On business news tonight, oil prices near 6-week low as OPEC Plus Joint Ministerial Monitoring Committee prepares to meet on August the 1st.
On sports, world number 2 Coco Gauff crashes out of the women's tennis events at the Paris Olympic Games after losing to Croatia's Dona Vekic in the round of 16.
From the nation's capital, the Delta State Police Command confirms the abduction of a former Delta State Commissioner for Technical Education, Joan Oyemachi.
And in international news from London, security forces in Venezuela have fired tear gas and rubber bullets at people protesting Sunday's disputed election result.
Some organizers of the planned End Bad Governance demonstration slated to begin on Thursday, August the 1st, 2024, have rejected a proposal by the Inspector General of Police, Ikeja Hotel, for a confined protest. At a virtual meeting held with the IGP today, the group insisted that it has designated points across the state, like the Eagle Square and the Alausa Park, for convergence, but it will proceed with those points for processions, speeches, and rallies. While the IGP had suggested that the group shun the idea of rallies and restrict its protest to the convergent points to enable the police guarantee their safety. Our correspondent, Shola Shiele, was a part of the virtual meeting and now reports.
Senior advocates of Nigeria, Femi Falana and Ebunolu Adegboruwa, led the meeting with the Inspector General of Police. About 25 persons attended, and they include the leadership of the Nigerian Bar Association, other senior lawyers, members of the Take It Back movement, representatives of other civil society organizations, as well as representatives of the police.
Under the law, your duty is to ensure that adequate security is provided for protesters in line with Section 83, subsection 4 of the Police Establishment Act of 2020. And for me, once there is commitment on the part of the police to ensure that those who want to protest are guided, there should be no problem. On behalf of my colleagues who are here, that we are not violent people, and we're not going to encourage violence as far as this protest is concerned.
At this particular period, it is not advised that we go on street procession, because I've said earlier on that as you are mobilizing for peaceful protest, some are mobilizing for violent protests. We are doing our best to make sure that we check those ones. Then for the peaceful protesters, we are agreeing on the modalities to conduct the peaceful protest at this period. That's why I suggested that confining peaceful protesters to a particular location will help us a lot. I want us to agree on that on the day of protest, your group will be confined to those places that you have identified. And let us also agree that there will be no procession.
Participants disagree with the IGP's suggestions for a confined protest.
It may not be possible for organizers to say they are winning the procession. I don't think that will be possible.
We can agree on routes. We can agree on where we are going to pass through the protest, but I don't think it's possible to confine protest to a location. That will be absolutely impossible.
Surely our letter to the Inspector General of Police indicates that there will be procession, they will be guided, in order to achieve peace during the procession. That's indicated in our letter.
The IGP responds.
You indicated 8 locations, 8 states where you want to stage this protest. The IG will not be in all those 8 states at the same time. But we have commissioners of police in each of those states, meet with them, tell the commissioners of police how you want to stage your peaceful protest. But as for me, I believe that a peaceful protest in a confined location will be very easy for the police to protect. But if you say you want to go on procession, you want to go around the whole city in during your peaceful protest, I advise against that.
The meeting dispersed with the group asking the IGP to make available the contacts of police officers designated to cover the protest. Shola Shoyeli, Channels Television News.
The Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbetoko, is again reiterating the commitment and preparedness of the Nigeria Police Force to protect all peaceful protesters. The Inspector General of Police, who disclosed this at a meeting with heads of paramilitary agencies, says the police and other security agencies will be provided with body cams to monitor the activities. He also explains that security agencies will under no circumstance allow a repeat of the 2020 EndSARS, where lives and properties were lost. The meeting had in attendance heads of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Nigeria Customs Service, the Department of State Services, Nigeria Immigration Service, Nigeria Correctional Services, and the Federal Road Safety Corps.
We recognize protest as the right of citizens, and we as security agencies, we have a duty to protect this right. But the right to protest is right to peaceful protest. We don't want a repeat of the EndSARS protest in Nigeria. We can't afford it at this critical time. We will recall that the EndSARS protest left us worse off. We had a situation where people came out in the name of protest, burned down police stations, destroyed business premises, destroyed public infrastructure, all valued trillions of naira. We are yet to recover from those losses. Innocent lives were lost, where police stations were burnt down, armed gangs took over. Armed gangs started terrorizing the citizens of those communities. We don't want a repeat of that. I remember in Lagos, in those places where police stations were burnt down, women could no longer come out once it is 7 p.m. because they get raped on the streets. That is not the experience we want again. So we are doing everything possible to make sure that we stop any violent protest in Nigeria at this time. And I want to use this opportunity to appeal to Nigerians who are still thinking they will come out to destroy or kill, to have a rethink, because the security agencies will not allow that.
And very shortly, we'll be hearing voices from a set of defiant groups under the aegis of coalition of youth, civil society, socialists and radical groups who have vowed to go ahead with the planned End Bad Governance protest. But the protest has now become necessary to demand for a system change where the wealth of the country will be used primarily for making lives better for its people instead of enriching just a few. The coalition goes on to announce their willingness to join the protest and will be converging at Ikeja area of Lagos.
The protest will take place in Lagos State, like it will in other parts of the country, starting from this week, Thursday, 1st of August, 2024. We call on all youth, students, unemployed workers, traders, and all those who are affected by the condition of hunger and hardship to join us. The peaceful protest we hold according to the following schedule. We are announcing our takeoff point to be Ikeja Under Bridge in Lagos State. Our cardinal demands are these. 1, we are calling for the reversal of fuel price to pre-May 29, 2023 level. We are demanding a reversal of electricity tariff to pre-May 29, 2023 level. We are demanding end to hardship and hunger. We are demanding recall of all victimized activists. Free all NSAS detainees, many of whom are still in detention 4 years after. We are demanding end to school fee hike for study grants and not loans. We are calling for the placement of all political office holders on the minimum wage. We are calling for the reversal of all anti-poor and neoliberal capitalist policies. We are demanding the fixing of public refineries, the building of new ones under democratic workers' control and management.
And still on the NSAS and the protest, which is planned nationwide, Lagos High Court has granted an ex parte application filed by the state's Attorney General, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Lawal Pedro, seeking to restrict the proposed August 1 nationwide protest in the state to the Gani Fawemi Freedom Park in Ojota and the Peace Park in Ketu. Justice Emmanuel Ogundare granted the order for preemptive remedy by way of interim injunction to restrict the defendants from gathering and carrying out the proposed protest in Lagos from August the 1st through to the 10th, except in the two approved locations from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Listed in the application as defendants are Adama Ukbabi and Tosin Harsoba for Active Citizens Group, Comrade Juwon Sanyolu and Hassan Soweto for Take It Back Movement, persons unknown, and the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State. While moving his application before the court, the Attorney General argued that as a chief law officer of the state and having been privy to notices of different interests who are for and against the nationwide protest, there is the need to protect the critical infrastructure of the state and prevent the loss of lives and property as witnessed during the NSAS protest in 2020. Mr. Pedro also maintained that the police in the state does not have sufficient manpower to provide security support for all protesters who planned the protest in all the local government councils and the public highways and other areas of public access across the state. Nigerian youths have again been advised to carry out their protest with caution and not allow it to generate destruction of critical infrastructure. These words are coming from the co-chairman of the National Traditional Rulers Council and the monarch of Ile-Ife, His Imperial Majesty Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi. The Ogoni of Ife spoke on our political program, Politics Today.
We need to let our people know that it is important for us to let them know that political and all our political leaders will come and go, but common assets and public assets shouldn't be destroyed. We will be the one to suffer because we should come together as a country and not as individuals. People that are clamoring for riots, or protest or demonstration, we know. We traditional rulers, we never said that people shouldn't go to the streets to demonstrate. It is their rights. Even our political leaders confirmed that they can go. The agitation is real. We know that we have a lot of suffering in the country, and it is not only Nigeria. We have global inflation. It is everywhere. But what we traditional rulers are after is do not let us destroy our country ourselves. This is a global phenomenon. We should be very sensitive about it. We should be very mindful that we should love our country more than anything. We should focus on patriotism, true patriotism.
In part two, after the break, traditional rulers from the 17 states of the southern part of Nigeria converge on Owerri, the Imo State capital, for the formal inauguration of the Southern Nigeria Traditional Rulers Council, headed by the Ogoni of Ife, His Majesty Enitan Ogunwusi. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Organizers of the planned End Bad Governance nationwide demonstration slated for August the 1st reject the proposal of the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetoku, to confine spaces. The police and other security agencies to be fitted with body cams as the planned nationwide protest looms. Inspector General of Police reiterates the police's commitment to protect all peaceful protesters. And a coalition of youths and civil society groups align with the protest called by End Bad Governance protest. The group insists the protest will go on regardless of any threat or intimidation. Let's head to the northwestern part of Nigeria, where Sawaba, a youth organization, has vowed to lead a protest in Jigawa State. Omar Danjani, who's the chairman of the organization, who spoke to Channels Television, says the high cost of living necessitates their decision. Meanwhile, some students in Kano State have distanced themselves from the planned protest. Our correspondent Sadiq Iliasu reports.
It's just a few days to the nationwide protest, and tension continues to rise in some states in the northwest. In Jigawa State, a youth organization vows to lead from the front on the day of the planned protests.
I've been saying our protest is going to be very, very peaceful. And this is what I believe, and this is what my colleague believe in.
Meanwhile, in Kano State, some students distanced themselves from the protest.
I, Comrade Yahya Usman Kabo, Chairman Kano State Student Council, call on the entire Kano State student to stay away from any form of protest. This protest is organized by unknown people who are the enemies of democracy and the country called Nigeria.
In the Dakata area of the state, leadership of political parties, NNPP, APC, and PDP, call for calm.
Wish to collectively caution against the proposed nationwide protest aimed against the federal and state governments. While we fully recognize the democratic right of citizens to voice their grievances and hold their leaders accountable, we believe that the timing and nature of this protest are premature and could lead to unintended consequences that may hinder national progress.
Also, a women's group expresses fear that the protests may lead to violence.
Let us work together and let's build our future together where every Nigeria can flourish, not through the turmoil of protest, but through the power of peaceful collective effort. Thank you for your commitment to the nation's progress. Let us stand united. Let's say no to protest.
The Minister of Works and Housing, who came for a road inspection, also seizes the opportunity to appeal to youth not to embark on the protest.
I assure you that Mr. President is doing everything to reset the economy, and there are a lot of positive indices already in place. He has, put in place a lot of palliatives, fertilizer, rice, CNG vehicles, and so on and so forth. And of course, students' loans. So there will be no need for anybody in this Asian city of Kano to join any protest. Protest will not do anything for us.
The situation remains tense as the protest date approaches, with various groups expressing different views. Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
The Kebbi State Police Command has warned against any act of destruction or looting of critical infrastructure during the planned protest. The Kebbi State Police Commissioner Bello Sani made the warning while addressing officers and head of the tactical operations at the headquarters of the command. According to him, to ensure peaceful atmosphere during the upcoming nationwide protest, the State Command has mobilized 5,000 officers and men in the state. The CP acknowledged the constitutional right of Nigerians to protest peacefully, but warns against any act of destruction or looting of critical infrastructure. He also called on protest organizers to provide information on the proposed routes and assembly points, expected duration of protest, names and contact details of the leaders, and measures to prevent hijacking by criminals.
And other security agencies will not hesitate to clamp down any group of people that might attempt to cause disturbance of public peace or unwanted destruction of critical public infrastructure in disguise of peaceful protest in Kebbi State. Consequently, threat analysis has been conducted, whereby the trouble areas, makers in the state has been identified. The police tactical team, in synergy with other security agencies, will be deployed with a view to forestalling any unforeseen circumstances. In the same vein, I want to call all groups planning for this peaceful protest to provide the command with the following details: proposed route and assembly point, expected duration of the protest, name and contact details of leaders.
And to other stories now, the Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma is charging traditional rulers in the southern part of the country to use their positions to preach peace and unity in the face of the current challenges facing Nigeria. Governor Hope Uzodinma was speaking during the formal inauguration of the Southern Nigeria Traditional Rulers Council in Owerri, the state capital. Also present at that meeting, at that event, Senator George Akume, who is representing President Bola Tinubu, is of the opinion that the role of monarchs in national development cannot be overemphasized.
Traditional rulers from the 17 states of the southern parts of the country converge on Owerri, the Imo State capital, for the formal inauguration of the Southern Nigeria Traditional Rulers Council headed by His Majesty the Ogoni of Ife. The arrival of the host governor, Mr. Hope Uzodinma, his counterpart from Ogoni State, as well as the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, who is representing the President, signals the commencement of this important event. The Ogoni of Ife, in his welcome address, says the aim of the Council is to work together in synergy in order to promote peace, love and unity in the country.
Our aim, the aim for the creation of a Southern Nigeria Traditional Rulers Council is to work for better understanding and respect for diverse cultures in Southern Nigeria. It is very important for us to know that this gathering is very important for us. In unity, there is a lot of strength in it. In unity, we can achieve so much. In unity, we can actually work towards how our country can be better.
The chairman of the Southern Governors Forum and Governor of Ogun State, Dr. Abiodun, says the inauguration of the Southern Nigeria Traditional Rulers Council is apt, as it will strengthen the bond between the traditional institution and the government, especially at a time like this.
Together, we can align our goals of the Southern Governors Forum with that of the Southern Nigeria Traditional Council to ensure sustainable growth and development across the southern regions. By promoting inter-ethnic tolerance and understanding, we can build bridges amongst our diverse communities in the region and leverage our individual comparative advantages to strengthen regional trade.
The national coordinator of the council and host governor, Mr. Hope Uzodinma, is eager to see the traditional rulers use their positions to preach peace, love and unity of the country, while also reaching out to their counterparts in the north for national development.
The primary purpose of their coming together is to enhance the unity of the southern traditional rulers, as well as to work for better understanding and respect for our diverse cultures in southern Nigeria. These noble intentions are indeed necessary for the strengthening of our unity as a nation.
Representing President Bola Tinubu at the event, Senator George Akume says the unity of the country is paramount, and in achieving this, the role of the traditional rulers is crucial.
Whatever anybody says about our country, we are a great nation. And with the support of our fathers like you, Nigeria can never break down. We will continue to make progress. Of course, there are some Nigerians who will always be aggrieved, and in every society who have the aggrieved. It's not because their grievance is based on anything that is rational. They are aggrieved because why is it not me in that position? That is all.
High point of the event is the formal inauguration of the council by the governor of Ogun State, Prince Dakwa Abiodun.
They are today hereby inaugurated to the glory of the Almighty God, the advancement and progress of southern Nigeria and our country, Nigeria. Amen. Congratulations.
According to the council, this meeting is the first that will bring together all traditional rulers from the southern part of the country since the amalgamation of the southern and northern protectorates in 1914. They promised that their next meeting will be in Ogun State later in the year.
To aviation, and the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, NAMA, has grounded Arik aircraft following a court order by the FCT High Court regarding an unpaid debt of $2.5 million to Atlas Petroleum International Limited. According to a statement by NAMA, due to the inability of the airline to offset its debt, the court ordered that its fleet of aircrafts with registration numbers B737700, 5F9MJF, B737800, 5NMJQ, -8Q400, and 5NBKX all be put in public auction on July the 26th, 2024. NAMA further explains that its action is in compliance with the court order and also to avoid the aircraft being taken out of the jurisdiction of the court or tampered with. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority says that it has directed Arik Air to compensate affected passengers and also help redirect them to other airlines. This was disclosed by NACA's Director Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Michael Achimogu, via a telephone conversation. We have more stories for you. We turn our attention to security as we go to Abuja studios where Mark Yusuf is standing by. Hello, Mark. It's good to see you.
Same here, and we're going to the Niger Delta region now, where gunmen have abducted a former Delta State Commissioner for Technical Education, Joan Oyemachi. The Delta State Police Public Relations Officer, Bright Edafe, confirmed the incident. Report has it that she was abducted at her church along DBS Road, Asaba, during church service. Her abductors were said to have shot sporadically before taking her away to an unknown destination. 2 police officers attached to her were shot by the gunmen, killing one in the process, while the other sustained injuries and is receiving treatment at an undisclosed hospital. The police, however, say they are on the trail of the gunmen. Joan Oyemachi represented Aniocha Oshimili Federal Constituency at the House of Representatives in 2015. She also served as a lawmaker for Aniocha South at the Delta State House of Assembly from 2007 to 2015. She was appointed by the Delta State Governor, Sheriff Oburewuri, as a Commissioner for Technical Education before she later resigned earlier this year. Still ahead on the news at 10, oil prices near 6-week low as OPEC Plus Joint Ministerial Monetary Committee prepares to meet on the 1st of August. That's some business news. Please join us again. Welcome back. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, has been speaking on the impact of the rejigged operations Delta Sanity, which was established in January 2024. At a meeting with players in the maritime sector, Vice Admiral Ogala notes that over 35 ships involved in oil theft have been arrested and handed over to appropriate prosecuting agencies. He acknowledges that the effort is a boost to the fight against crude oil theft.
This meeting brings together key players in the nation's maritime sector, and it's at the instance of the Chief of Naval Staff, who is seeking for ways of improving revenue from the oil and gas industry by curbing oil theft.
the Africa Integrated Maritime Strategy.
The Chief of Naval Staff begins the meeting by giving an update on the impact of the Navy intervention in the maritime sector.
The Nigerian Navy has therefore sustained her maritime security operations through surveillance, response, and law enforcement, in addition to collaboration with all maritime stakeholders. We have rejigged our operations and established Operation Delta Sanity this year. The operation has achieved remarkable successes in curbing oil theft as well as other maritime crimes. So far, over 35 ships involved in oil theft have been arrested and handed over to appropriate prosecuting agencies.
Representatives of government agencies also lend their voices, calling for a more regulated maritime sector that will lead to enhanced revenue generation for the government.
We have seen a lot of improvement in our off-field and downstream assets. The majority of our downstream assets are well secured, and things are moving good independently. Hopefully, before the end of this year, we are hoping to achieve almost 2 million barrels a day. So this cannot be possible without the support. So we look forward to more of this support and more of this collaboration, and we hope that we are going to get more from the Nigerian Navy.
We have been working collaboratively with the Navy with respect to alternative route evacuation, with respect to patching, with respect to vessel movement, and also with respect to exports. And we have been getting that very good support, and when we thank you, sir, for that, and we will continue to lean on to your support.
The Navy is promising to lean on the support of key players, especially oil sector regulators, to improve the nation's daily oil production output for enhanced revenue and economic prosperity. Sarah Chimugu, Channels Television News.
We're still in the Niger Delta, where HyPrep has planted 514,819 mangrove seedlings to restore the Ogoni ecosystem after years of oil pollution. The HyPrep coordinator, Professor Nenibarini Zabe, shared this during a visit from the Ministers of Environment and Niger Delta Affairs. Our correspondent, Deborah Agbalama, reports.
The arrival of the Ministers of Environment and the Niger Delta Affairs for a two-day official visit is greeted with an enthusiastic welcome. This is the Minister of Environment's second official visit to Ogoni land since his appointment. His ministry directly supervises the activities of HyPrep.
HyPrep is undertaking the world's largest restoration of oil-degraded mangroves. So far, we have planted 514,819 mangrove seedlings while restoring mangroves through assisted planting. Reducing mangrove harvesting pressure is also necessary.
On day one, both ministers jointly commissioned the Bomu completed water scheme in Gukana LGA and inspect the ongoing restoration of the mangroves at various seaside shores around Ogoni land.
I think the PC and other operators of the system deserve some accommodation. And more importantly, you know, the headship of any organization determine what the organization look like. I think with the present Minister of Environment and the leadership of HyPrep, things have turned around.
What I think is important for us is that what I see here today is quite impressive, because I was here in December. When I came in here, most of the buildings that are now here were not even started.
Professor Zabe also disclosed that HyPrep has planted a total of 514,819 mangrove seeds so far, marking it as the world's largest restoration oil-degraded mangroves.
And that's all from our Abuja studios. It's back now to you, Anne.
Thank you very much, Malpe. And back here in Lagos, Ikeja Hotel PLC, a major player in the Nigerian hospitality sector, has held its annual general meeting, which took place at the Sheraton Hotel in Lagos. The meeting was another avenue for the management, staff and shareholders to meet and be abreast of how the company performed in the 2023 financial year.
Ikeja Hotel PLC prides itself as a leader in the provision of catering and management services in Nigeria, while extending similar services to international communities. Management of the company and shareholders gather for its 47th annual general meeting in Lagos to review the last financial year in accordance with relevant laws guiding company operations in the country.
I hereby move that dividend payment in the total sum of 162,177,581 naira 2 kobo, which translates to 7.5 kobo per ordinary share of the company, subject to withholding tax, is hereby approved.
Shareholders also get some answers to their questions.
The performance of today or of that year must be looked into and make sure that you don't go below that performance. Assuming that our price to book value is going to be 1-for-1, then it cannot be, our share should not be selling for less than 10 naira 93 kobo. The question now is, how much is our share?
Our target is to ensure through our performances and also by the outcome of today's meeting and some steps we are taking, the share, by the grace of God, we are looking at 10 naira.
Despite the challenging economic climate, the company does not lose its balance as it maintains positive results.
What we have seen and what we have reported to the members at the AGM today were stories of improvements, both in our numbers and also some other significant decisions we have taken to ensure that there is a meaningful achievement and also to take the company to a higher level.
This year's annual general meeting of the Ikeja Hotel PLC is indicative of resilience, especially in these trying times, as the hospitality giant posts improved financial results and shareholders smile to the bank.
Leader of host community of Nigeria oil-producing oil and gas and traditional rulers from the Niger Delta community have visited the Dangote Refinery. The visibly astonished visitors to the refinery complex say there isn't any justifiable reason why the project should not be giving all the support needed, adding that local refining of crude will help grow exploration activities in the region and enhance their livelihood.
More and more callers have continued to throng this complex, whether out of curiosity of its sheer size or what this mega complex housing the largest single-train refinery in the world or the recent challenges faced by the project. Either way, the Dangote Refinery and Petrochemical Complex is a major structure in the Nigerian space. For the sake of recent challenges impeding the processes and outputs, all host communities and traditional rulers for the oil-bearing communities of the Niger Delta region wants a space in the ongoing conversations. It's not a complex you can get around its circumference by foot. As they drive through and making critical stops, they are treated to witness one of the world's piece of engineering craft and installation.
Every state, all the 9 oil producing states, traditional rulers will tell you that we are satisfied. Not only satisfied, we have seen the fulfillment of the future Nigeria.
When the opportunity came, they were emphatic on the things seen as well as what should happen.
There is something going on that actually the government have not really found out. This is a sabotage to the highest order to destroy this nation, to destroy the economy of this country. This is it. So I'll be able to get home and tell my people, that my subjects, that this is not going to be accepted. We're going to back what we have seen on the ground. Is going to help us tomorrow, so we have to fight for it.
At the last visit, the diesel quality from the refinery presented an 87 ppm parts per million for sulfur content, but that has since improved.
Last time when the visit was there, at that time they tested the diesel, it came to 87, and today it's -10 diesel we are producing. So that section is finished, and now
we are getting ready to start producing the PMS.
If recent pronouncements of the federal government is anything to go by, the Dangote Refinery may be on the highway to achieve its ambitions. Ola Phillips, Channel Television News.
We'll remain in the energy sector. Let's take a look at crude oil prices. Here's Dominic Awiwu with more stories in the world of business.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Anne. On business, crude oil prices have fallen to the lowest level since early June, with Brent September contract at $79.03 per barrel and the US WTI at $75.19 per barrel, amid worries about China's economy and new round of escalation in the Middle East. This comes as top ministers from the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and Allies, led by Russia, collectively known as OPEC+, prepare to hold their online bi-monthly Joint Ministerial Monitoring Committee meeting on Thursday, August the 1st. 5 sources from the oil producer group have hinted that the panel is unlikely this week to make any changes to its current deal to cut production and to start unwinding some cuts from October, despite recent sharp declines in oil prices. At its last meeting in June, the group agreed to extend cuts of 3.66 million barrels per day by a year until the end of 2025. The Lagos State government says it plans to generate 200 billion naira annually by expanding its income tax net to include remote workers. This is contained in the synopsis for the Eco Revenue Plus Summit, scheduled to hold from September 25th to 26th. According to the government, the state intends to achieve this target by leveraging digital solutions for enhanced revenue collection. At the same time, the synopsis hints that the state government plans to raise its internally generated revenue to 5 trillion naira from 4 major sectors and generate 375 billion naira annually through land use charge payments from residents of the state. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has ordered the electricity market operator in the country's power sector to activate the relevant market rules to ensure the payment of about 21.3 billion naira owed by international customers in the first quarter of this year. The countries include Niger Republic through its power generation and transmission utility, Benin Republic through Société Béninoise d'Énergie Électrique, and Togo through its power utility firm, the Togo Electric Energy Company. In its just-released Q1 2024 report, the NEC revealed that none of the countries being supplied electricity by Nigeria remitted monies to the country during the period under review. The new NEC report expects the MO to invoke the provision of the market rules to curtail the payments indiscipline being exhibited by local and international bilateral customers. Plans are underway to introduce a new app for electronic filing of cases of litigants in capital markets in order to ease ways of seeking redress before the tribunal. This is according to the Investments and Securities Tribunal. The chairman of the IST, Mr. Amos Azi, who made this known to journalists while unveiling its Kano Zonal office, mentioned that it is already working with the National Judicial Council in that direction and hopes to roll out the app before the end of this year. Mr. Azi explained that the IST was established to entertain only capital market matters or disputes with the aim of bringing the courts closer to the investors, as well as ensure speedy dispensation of justice. And from the IST, we head to the domestic stock market, which continued its decline as investors sold off some high-value equities on the NGX. Ini John Mekwa tells us more.
Welcome to the stock market report. Unfortunately, at the close of Tuesday's trade, we saw the NGX going further into the negative zone, losing 171 billion naira and getting further away from the 100,000 level. So it's closed at 97,830.6. Intraday, we had 98,000, and who were complaining now we're further, we lose 0.31%. And yes, after the 171 billion naira off the market, we saw 50
25.54 trillion naira for the market cap, and that's because of banking. Negative sentiment still surrounding that. Profit taking is going on almost 2% at the close of trade. It's the Fugas, they're all down today. Those are, of course, the makers and movers of the market. Consumer goods is also down at the close of trade, more than 2%, in spite of those positive results coming from that part of that sector. Dangote sugar was down today, Guinness was down, Honeywell flour, Nigerian breweries, and Nestle. So that's why we see more than 2% down. Oil and gas, we see it's up again, continuing from yesterday where it stopped. Not looking as good as yesterday, but it closed up. O&O, Etana, or Japo Gold, they were there. And the top trades capturing the financial services, profit taking going on right there. So you see they're all from the financial services, profit taking going on so much around the banks, especially Prestige Insurance just added to that. So once again, it's the bear for the day.
And that's it on business news. Back to you, Anne, for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Dominic. Outside our shores now, Israel has launched an airstrike on Beirut, which it says targeted a senior commander in the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah. Footage from the scene in the southern suburb of Dayer shows damage of block of flats with crowds gathered outside. Here's Simon Puse with other international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Security forces in Venezuela have fired tear gas and rubber bullets at people protesting Sunday's disputed election result. Thousands of people descended on central Caracas, some walking for miles from slums on the mountains surrounding the city towards the presidential palace. Protests erupted in the Venezuelan capital the day after President Nicolas Maduro claimed victory. The opposition has disputed Mr. Maduro's declaration as fraudulent, saying its candidate, Edmundo Gonzalez, won convincingly with 73.2% of the vote. Opposition parties had united behind Mr. Gonzalez in an attempt to unseat President Maduro after 11 years in power, amid a widespread discontent over the country's economic crisis. At least 63 people have been killed and dozens are feared trapped after heavy rains triggered massive landslides in the southern Indian state of Kerala. The landslides struck hilly areas in Wayanad district in the early hours of Tuesday. Rescue operations are underway but are being hindered by heavy rains and the collapse of a crucial bridge. India's army said it had sent more than 200 personnel to the area to assist security forces in search and rescue efforts. Local hospitals are treating at least 70 injured people and around 250 people have been rescued and shifted to rescue camps so far. The Democratic Republic of Congo has released 420 prisoners from its largest and most overcrowded prison. It's after images of dire conditions inside Makala prison were posted to social media by a recently freed journalist, which sparked widespread outcry. The prison was built in 1957 to house 1,500 inmates. It now holds around 15,000, with the vast majority in pre-trial detention. The overcrowding has led to dire health conditions. In early 2023, 66 inmates died in just 2 months due to malnutrition, suffocation, and a lack of medical care. Beijing has temporarily shut down all suburban train stations after heavy rain blanketed the Chinese capital. Low-lying roads were waterlogged as downpours intensified over the city centre. A blue alert for heavy rain remains in effect across the city. The Municipal Weather Bureau forecasts rain continuing into the evening, with heavy downpours expected in most areas. Certain areas of Huairou, Miyun, Fangshan and Mentugu districts could see over 100 millimetres of rainfall. The Olympic men's individual triathlon at Paris 2024 has been postponed after tests revealed that the water quality in the River Seine did not reach the required standards. The race was due to start on Tuesday and will now take place on Wednesday following the conclusion of the women's event. Swimming training sessions were cancelled on Sunday and Monday because of the water quality, which has been impacted by recent heavy rainfall. Researchers in Italy have devised a solution for one of the world's most pressing environmental problems, the trillions of cigarette butts that smokers discard. A team from the Italian Institute of Technology in Genoa has developed a four-legged answer to the problem. This vacuum cleaner-equipped robo-dog uses AI to identify cigarette butts on the ground and suck them up with the vacuum cleaner attachments on each foot. An estimated 4.5 trillion cigarette butts are discarded every year. It's hoped this robo-dog, which uses a camera system and an algorithm to recognize its targets and plan a route, could be the solution to the problem. And an auction house in New York has set aside 23 items for its altitude capsule collection that highlights athletes at the height of their careers. The auction includes Kobe Bryant's locker that he used during his career with the Los Angeles Lakers, a Diego Maradona jersey from the 1986 World Cup, and a Rafael Nadal tennis racket. Also up for grabs are the jerseys from the 2024 NBA Finals featuring the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics. In total, Sotheby's estimates the collection to bring in at least $2.3 million. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Kelly. And the main news again. Organizers of the planned End Bad Governance nationwide demonstration slated for August 1 rejected the Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetoku's proposal of confined protests. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. Have a wonderful night rest.